Hello everybody, my name is Rainer, this is Rainier Books. It is Tuesday today, it's Tag Tuesday on BookTube. I have done tag videos on almost every day of the week, but now on Tuesday the 12th of April of 2022, I will do a tag video. And I have been tagged by Jolene from Bookworm Adventure Girl, by her for the Three Musketeers book tag, which was originally provided by Beki by Beki at Teacup, the Storyteller channel. I'll put a link down below to both channels. And thanks for the tag, Jolene. And this is very much about the French writer Alexandre Dumas and his novel, The Three Musketeers, and the questions, the prompts, they sort of spring out of this book by Alexandre Dumas. So let's get started. There are two ways of doing a tag. One is that you sit down at your computer or whatever, with a notebook, you have a notebook and write everything down per hand, and that you prepare exactly for the tag, which I haven't done for this tag. Because sometimes I think that prepared tag videos are really good because you have very concise, very exact answers to all the questions. And sometimes I think spontaneous answers are also very interesting. So today, on this Tuesday, when it's dark outside already, it's about 8:30, 8:45 in the evening here in Farsta outside of Stockholm, Sweden, I do it spontaneously. So here are the prompts. The first one is, Alexandre Dumas was born in the 19th century. Do you have a favorite time period to read about? If yes, what do you like about it? I have a favorite time period. Those of you who know my channel probably know which time period that is. That is now, because life is now. Our lives are now. And we're so stuck in the time that we are living. We don't live yesterday, we don't live tomorrow. We live now. And this is also the period that I'm most interested in, definitely. I can also read. I have learned again to read about the past. Currently, I'm reading, for example, with Jolene, I'm reading the novel Canada by Richard Ford, which starts at least in the beginning of the 1960s, which is the time, the decennium that I was born, the decade that I was born in. So I'm reading this novel right now, but mostly I'm interested in the contemporary time, in the now, which always is influenced by the past. That's clear. So, but it's now that I like about most, because it's now that we all do live. Second question, Alexandre Dumas was born in France. Is there a French author whose book you'd recommend? And that's so easy for me now, because I have raved about her very many times. She's so young still, she's 29 years old, and she has written 3 novels. One of them has been published in English, the other 2 are coming. And I'm talking about the French-Korean author Elise Shua Dusapin, who could also be credited as a Swiss writer, but also as a French writer, but also as a Korean writer. But she writes in French, and I think she lives in France, or does she live in Switzerland? Anyway, Elise Shua Dusapin, she has written the novel Winter in Sokcho that won the National Book Award last year in the United States for the best novel in translation. And Winter in Sokcho is also a book that I would highly recommend to you. It's not playing in France, but it has a French character. It has a Korean character who is telling us the story, narrating the story. Sokcho is a provincial town in South Korea at the East Coast, not so far away from the North Korean border, and the female characters, she's working in a little bed and breakfast, probably comparable in Sokcho, where they have a lot of tourists in the summer, but not many tourists in the winter. But in the winter, there comes a French teacher who's the senior of this woman, and they sort of have a very interesting relationship, because the young woman's father is actually French, the teacher is French, and it's about the two cultures. It's about Winter in Sokcho, it's about fish, but it's about a lot about fish as well. It's very silent, but I liked it. I like the tone of it, and I like the atmosphere. So Elise Shua Dusapin is the answer. She's coming this year with her novel The Pachinko Parlor in English. I think this is coming in July or August. Third question. Alexandre Dumas often based his novels on real events and historical figures. Is there a person from the past, artists, politicians, simply anyone you would like to meet? And here is a different question. As I live in the now, we all live in now, we all live now. Your life is now, your life is now, your life is now. That's John Cougar Mellencamp. But I'm still very interested how the contemporary times, how the now is influenced by the past. And there's so many people I could imagine to meet if I could speak the language, if we had a common language, which is not always the case. I would love to speak to people like Mahatma Gandhi. I would like to speak to Nelson Mandela. I would like to speak to people who are deceased. People who have been great actors and actresses like Bogart and Bacall, like Rainer Werner Fassbinder, the German film director. I would love to speak to Mink DeVille. I would love to speak to Elvis Presley. Why not? I'd love to speak to Prince and to Michael Jackson and to authors like Ernest Hemingway and William Faulkner, and why not to Goethe? So there's so many people I would be interested in to talk to. And a lot of politicians, because I'm very interested in history and a lot of interested in politics as well. So I would love to speak with people like John F. Kennedy or with Egon Bahr, a German politician who was very much involved in the opening up to the Eastern European policy that now is very much in question by Germany. So there's so much that I could imagine to talk to different people from the past. Let me get to question number 4. I have to open my telephone again to get this. It's called, here's the question. Alexandre Dumas wrote some pretty chunky books. For example, The Count of Monte Cristo is almost over 1,000 pages. As opposed to his son, Alexandre Dumas Jr., whose only book, The Lady of the Camellias, is less than 180 pages. What is the longest and shortest book you've read? That's a question I should have prepared, probably. So I'm not sure which book I have read is the longest. The shortest is also very difficult. I have read quite many books that were around 100. Yeah, I would say that last year I read both Caleb Azumah Nelson's book, Open Water. I read this other book by a British black writer, which is called Assembly. That's Natasha Brown. I think both of their novels are pretty short, under 180 pages at least. And one of them might be shorter than the other. Actually, I read now an essay that was published by the author Andrew O'Hagan in the London Review of Books. It's about the fire at Grenfell Tower in London, non-fiction account by Andrew O'Hagan, who wrote the book Mayflies that I loved last year, which is also a very long essay. I think it's 80,000 words or something, but it would be short book. So this is somewhere between, no, it's not an essay, it's a book actually. It has 104 pages, has the PDF file on my computer that I'm reading right now. So this is also a short book, but it was never published as a book. It was only in the London Review of Books and very highly recommendable. I might talk about this in another video. The Tower by Andrew O'Hagan. And the longest book, oh my gosh, I don't read so much chunkies like Dumas has written. I haven't read Melville's Moby Dick. I read, for example, one of the books that I remember right now is Don Winslow's The Border trilogy, which is, I think, about 650 pages maybe. This might be one of the longest books that I read, but there are a couple of books in that division between 600 and 700 pages. I'm not sure which was the longest. Number 5, I don't think there is a video in which I wouldn't mention my favorite book, The Three Musketeers. Is there a book you want everyone to know about? It can be your favorite book of all time, some recent read you'd recommend to other people. There's so many books I would love to recommend to other people, and I don't have the favorite book of all times because I think we're living now, but now is changing from day to day. And tomorrow will be now if we live tomorrow. And yesterday was now yesterday. So, and we change, and also our favorites change. So a book that has been my favorite 20 years ago probably is not the favorite anymore of today. So I don't have a favorite book of all time for myself, but I have a lot of favorites. And recent reads, I would recommend the book that I thought was the best book of 2021, for me at least, which is The Son of the House by Cheluchi, Onyemelukwe, Unuobia. A great book about two women captured in Nigeria by kidnappers. They're telling each other their life stories, and their lives are more connected than they would think in the beginning when they start getting acquainted to each other. A beautiful novel about resilience, about female power, and about how women in Africa do get through life. This is a book that I want many people to read. I also want many people to read a wonderful novel by Vanessa Veselka from 2020, still one of my favorite novels of the last couple of years, The Great Offshore Ground, I think, which would deserve much more readers. I even have talked to the author on this channel, and I hope to talk to more authors in the future as well. So there are many books that I would wish more readers. That's enough. 2 books here in this category. Next question is number 6. One of the most famous quotes in literature, all for one for all, came from the pen of Alexandre Dumas. Do you keep a track of your favorite quotes when reading? Do you have at least one quote you'd like to share? And which book does it come from? Actually, I do mark books now. I have not favorite quotes from those books, but I sort of try to mark the sentences or paragraphs that I believe are key sentences or key paragraphs. And so yes, I do this, but I can't give you a quote right now. I might give it as the PS for this video. Give me some time after this, because I'm doing this spontaneously, as I said. Number 7, The Three Musketeers is a book of a strong friendship and allegiance. Do you have a favorite fictional friendship? Ooh, a favorite fictional friendship? Yeah, I mean, of course, then I have to turn to thrillers maybe, because the series of thrillers, sometimes you have, like, for example, in the series of Alan Banks, from Peter Robinson, the British Canadian author Peter Robinson. He has written, I think, 27 novels now about his detective superintendent Alan Banks and his DCI, I think she's DCI now, and Cabot. They had a love story, Annie Cabot. They had a love story about 12 novels ago, which I love that. So they've broken up again, but they're still friends. And I think this is a very interesting thing, because Robinson is developing this story from book to book. This has developed over 27 books. That's interesting to follow how this develops. The Three Musketeers is a story with strong female characters who are brave, fearless, yet gentle and loving. However, some of them prove to be true evil. Do you have a favorite female fictional character? Who is it and why? Yeah, one of the favorite female characters, I actually forgot her name, is the main character of a book that I read last year, also an African book set in Africa. It's called How Beautiful We Were by Imbolo Mbue. There's a young woman who is growing up in a village in Western Africa. She is living there with her peers, with her family, with her relatives, with the other people, and the soil is poisoned by an American company that's exploiting the earth for oil, and this company is supported by a corrupt government of the state where the people are living, the country where they are living in. So there's this woman who's going to America to study, to live a better life, but she comes back to Africa and leads the fight against this company. I think that was a character I really liked. Also a female, resilient, strong female character. But there are many female characters that I like. There are more than 50 film adaptations of The Three Musketeers. Is there a film adaptation that you enjoyed more than actual book? Doesn't have to be one of Dumas' books, just any book you've read and its film adaptation. Books and films are two different kinds of things, so it's not really comparable. I don't think that there's a book that I disliked and I said, okay, the film was really good. No. It's a different kind of thing. I own 3 different editions of The Three Musketeers. Is there a book you own more than one edition of? No, there's no one. No one. I'm not a bibliophile, so I don't collect several editions of the same book. Have you read The Three Musketeers or any other book by Alexandre Dumas? If yes, which one? I haven't read anything by Alexandre Dumas, but I saw the movies. I saw a lot of movies. You said it were 20 movies, 20 film adaptations of The Three Musketeers. I might have seen 2 or 3 or 4 when I was younger, when I was a child, when I was a teenager, but I haven't read it. Anything by Dumas. And finally, tag some friends to do this tag. As always, I tag everybody who sees this video and who wants to do the Three Musketeers tag. This was everything I had to say today. I will come back with a new video very soon. I'm about to finish a couple of books, so that's going to be interesting for you. So wait for this one, and please have a great time. See you and bye-bye.